Are we ready? Are we rolling? Okay. Well, welcome to them. This is Vancouver Entertainment Magazine. We're shooting from the infamous Morrissey Hotel.
Pub.
Here in Pub. I'm corrected. Pub. But yeah, here we are. And tonight's guest is K-Tel, DJ Carey here. And yeah, we're just going to get down and talk. This is our DJ series. I've got a bevy of them we're going to cover over the next few months. But this is my man for the hour, the first one, and the one and only. Welcome.
Hey.
How you doing, bro?
Good, man.
Good. Well, listen, man, let's just get into it real quick here. We were talking earlier about automation, this new science of music and how it's distributed and how limited the role of the DJ, or how, evasive it's become to DJs like ourselves that love to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
And from my standpoint, like I said, we are storytellers, and we're chronologically giving you history, and you do this every weekend here at the Morrissey, and which is just fantastic. It blows me away because we don't get to hear this kind of thing, and we so appreciate you.
Thanks.
Talk a bit about it.
Well, throughout my DJ career, I've had to cover so many different genres, and I've gone through so many different genres over the time, and I love them all.
Right.
And in this place, I get 4 hours to play and go on a journey through all of those different genres.
Right.
Whereas most DJs, they'll either, be stuck with playing hip hop or house or techno or whatever they do in their little hour set.
Right.
And as you say, with telling a story too as well, like within festivals now, a lot of the DJ slots are like 45 minutes to an hour.
Right on.
And you can't tell a story in that
Absolutely
time.
not.
You're just getting warmed up.
Absolutely.
So there are a few DJs who definitely like press and push to get 3 hours, which is definitely a thing, a good time to, get warmed up, feel what's going on with the crowd,
right,
in your environment, and adjust and go from there.
Now, do you play for the crowd, or do you play a bit for yourself? Because I'm a selfish DJ. I like to play for myself because it comes from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so it projects itself in what I'm feeling, whether I'm having a bad day or things are just kind of like out of proportion with the world. I play to that, and that's the kind of storyteller I am. On yourself,
well,
how do you?
Sometimes it depends, on like you say, on your feelings. Sometimes I feel like there's something that I want to hear, or something I want to play, something I want to do.
Right.
Like just recently, I've gotten into some more of the New Jack Swing stuff.
Yes.
And like hearing this, oh my God. So I've like gone and collected some of that. So last night I've got this new stuff. So I'm like, hey, I want to play this. So I go in and play some of that stuff.
Right on.
And other times I come in and I'm just like, I don't know. I'll just start off and see where I go, which is great about what I love to do is not, and for any sets that I play, whether it's at a festival or something like that.
Right.
Or little rave or party, I do not prepare sets.
Okay.
I may have, put together some stuff that I like and
right,
think and would like to play, but there's so many DJs I know will go on, it's like, here's their story, and they've written out their story of their playlist of their tracks.
Right on.
And then they get to the venue and they'll play those, and people might not be into it.
Right.
Or it might not set the setting. It might be raining. It might be sunny. It might be in the day. It might be at night. And all of those times require different music.
Right on. That's right.
And they've rehearsed their playlist. They've got their playlist down, and they just stick on their playlist. So I like to show up because I've got the confidence now,
right,
and the library and the skills to come in and be like, how do I feel? What's everyone else feeling? What's going on in this environment? Like this is what I'm going to play now.
What changes have you seen in how the music is put out there? Passed on, in other words, with what's the technology and with the changes in the way we, put it out there, project it.
In the way the DJ does,
yes,
or in the way the DJ gathers?
Yeah. The way the DJ does. It's changed a lot.
Oh, it's changed hugely.
Yeah.
Well,
Speak on that, please.
with everything going digital now,
Right.
which is great here now, is rather than hauling, 4 cases of records around. And,
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That was...
Well, it was good when you were young.
Yeah, no, but it was great, man. I used to love it. I had milk crates of music going to the station. I had a 7-hour show. I had one of the longest shows.
And you need all of that.
Oh,
right?
man, I'm hauling this stuff up from Pigeon Park, and yeah, man, you needed that. So
that's a big change in order to happen. And
right.
A lot of DJs, I think, Serato was one of the first things to come out. A lot of DJs, when people were like moving to that, were like, oh, they're not blah, 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 they're not, playing records. But then after, a few of the hardcore DJs like realized, it's like, oh my God, I don't have to haul all my records around. And especially when some of them too are traveling, flying on planes and stuff like that. If you can just bring your laptop. Yeah.
Who were some of the biggest influence, Carrie, in your life when it came to this? How did you know when you wanted to DJ? What was happening? Where were you at? Were you in your bedroom playing a 45?
Well, it definitely has come over time when I was young. First of all, probably when I was like 13 or 14, started going to parties.
Okay.
You start going to parties and you're hanging out, and you're young. You don't really know what's going on.
Who was the guy that stepped up to play the music?
Well, not me necessarily, but realizing that if the music was good,
right,
the party was rocking. And for me back then, initially, it was the one that was always working that people would play was AC/DC's Back in Black.
Yeah. When you say back then, what years are we talking about?
This would have been like 1982, probably 82, 84 kind of range.
Right. That was a great time for music.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, well, I consider 1984 a huge year for me.
Yeah.
You had the Police, you had the Def Leppard album, you had Madonna's stuff. It was incredible that year.
It was.
I actually will do some kind of series of putting together all of the great albums that got released.
Oh my goodness, the 80s were just fantastic, man. I was going to college during those years, and oh my gosh, I try to tell my kids, it's like, guys, let me tell you about an era, and I never thought I would be that guy, because you used to hear your grandfather and your granddad, uncles, and they all go, yeah, back in 1937. They're like, what? You go, what? And it's like, man, I ain't hearing that, but Nat King Cole and all of, man, but as it goes, no, man, the 80s for me, man, they were just dynamite. That was just like the greatest hour, I think, in the history of music.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and from soul to rock, you name it. In the 80s, it was all there. There was this creativity and ebb and flow that was going on. David Bowie, Luther Vandross, these cats were just putting this stuff out there. So back to what you were saying, and
so realizing that eventually you go to dance parties too. If the music sucks, people aren't going to dance.
Right.
And if the music's good, the girls are dancing. And if the girls are dancing, if the girls are having fun at a party, the party's on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So probably it was around 1986, and this would have been my start of my DJing, because I'd started building up a pretty decent music collection.
Right.
And we were at grade 12 in high school, and realizing we're sitting around at lunch. It's like, let's have music at lunch. Let's have music. So I was on the student council with a whole bunch of my friends. So we were all like, we want to put some money together towards putting together, kind of like radio stations. So we did, and that was sort of the start of it. And so we'd sit there. We had one tape deck that was wired directly into a PA system.
Okay.
And I would sit there with my Walkman, play tracks on my Walkman, and then as soon as the start of the song would come, I'd hit stop, pull it out, stick the Bic pen in there, because the Bic pen had the perfect hexagonal shape. Give 2.5 twists back.
Yes.
And then, the next song would end. Quickly do eject, pop the next one, and hit play. And I could do all of that within 2 seconds, and then the next song would play.
Yeah, so the transition was smooth.
Well, roughly, yeah. So that was, again, being able to play music and influence an environment.
When did you figure that out, that music had that kind of power on people, that when you got in a room, like for me, it was like, I got it, I got it, I'll play the music, and I started playing, and I could see the, everything changing around me, the whole...
It didn't probably happen until much later, like in university, once I started getting,
How old
turntable.
were you? How old
and
were you about then? How old were you?
I would have been like 18 in 86.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so a couple of years after that, I started, getting one turntable to go with my cassette deck and a realistic Radio Shack, good old Radio Shack. They had a DJ mixer that I could plug into.
Right.
So then I would start and being able to start doing, at least kind of radio crossfades between music.
Right. Now, explain to, I guess, for the novice, what do you mean by fading? What is fading?
Well, it's just when one song ends, another song starts.
Right.
And and typically on radio, you would hear it that they would cross blend songs, so there was no dead air.
Yes.
And often they would talk over it while it's happening of what the song was and stuff.
Wow.
And so into the dance world,
right.
A lot of the DJs figured out, keeping that transition going. So they would beat match songs, so that try to make the songs, the beats lay over top of each other.
Okay.
So that and then mix that together, so that it was like some people even wouldn't recognize. Oh, the song changed.
So that's where we are now with like.
Yeah. That sort of started happening, I guess, back in the disco days.
Right.
Yeah, and which eventually led to house and techno and that kind of stuff.
Right. Right. Okay.
And,
how do you feel about house? Do you like house?
Oh, I love house.
I love house.
Yeah.
I'm a closet house fan. Yeah. I do. I love it.
Yeah. And there's so many flavors of it now too. But I always love like the deep soulful stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And again too, it all depends on the environment. Like like I say, sure I had AC/DC, but depending on where you were, if it's night or day, it's the music. I always say that there's the right song for each moment that you have.
Yeah.
There's the perfect song.
What motivates you? What motivates you when you come in and you have to do a set? What gives you that drive that to want to relay that story?
Well, as you say too, like why did I start playing music? To not only put that energy, or when did I feel it's like I would play music and realize I would hear a song on the radio. It was like, oh my God, this song makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this song makes me feel emotions for that cute girl in my grade that I like. Oh my God, this song makes me want to like rock out. Like, this is this crazy power of music. And I wasn't a very good speaker or very silent. My dad was Japanese, who was also very silent and shy. So I've learned over the years that if my story to tell, I'm not going to get out and be the guy who's cracking the jokes in the room and stuff like that. I'm going to be the guy hiding out in the corner,
right,
doing that thing. And that's me. That's what I do. Like I don't want to do that. I was like, stick me in the corner. I don't want to talk to people. Let me talk to them through my music. Like let me share those experiences. Let me share that. And the thing I definitely love about doing it is when I play stuff, and music has that very strong way to touch people and take them back to a certain point in time.
So now, with that being said, do you feel responsible for that part of it?
Oh yeah, fuck for sure.
Explain that.
Yeah. They wouldn't have had that experience unless I did that.
Yeah, true that.
Right, and that's what I love here is, tonight I played a song, IOU by Freeze.
Okay.
And it's quite a rare track that not many people know, and this black guy sitting right in front of me, he's like, yeah, that's the one, bring that in. And that, I got on Facebook, and I was like, that made my week, right there.
Yeah, yeah. And
I touched that guy.
Yeah.
I brought him to a place somehow. I don't know what history. And in my head, it's like, Why does he dig that song?
Yeah.
Where was he? What's his? Where is he from? What was it? What's his experience with that song?
Right on. If you're just joining us, folks, we're here at VEM, Vancouver Entertainment Magazine. I'm here with the one and only DJ K-Tel, Jerry. We're sitting here, Carrie, we're sitting here just kicking it and talking about his life and his times with his work in the music industry. And I also want to touch on a bit, you are a graphic visual artist?
Well, so let me give you a bit more of the history of my DJing stuff. So I grew up in a small town, was very limited on my musical exposure in this town just because we didn't have no internet, right? So maybe 4 channels on the TV. At night we could pick up radio station from Spokane, over the States.
Right.
So got lots of heavy metal. And then so I take off, I go to university up in Edmonton. And next thing you know, I'm just exposed by so many people around me and through the clubs and underground clubs and the record stores, just so much music. So I was going off to university to become a dentist.
Okay. That's a little bit off the beaten path.
Well, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 18.
Yeah.
And it sounded good.
Yeah.
Tell her, wait a minute. So all I was doing in between classes was heading off to the record stores, looking at stuff, researching, finding new music.
Right.
So I decided, you know what? I don't want to be a dentist. So I left I want to get involved with music. So I left and I went to recording engineering school here in Vancouver.
Okay.
And I did that.
Yes.
And that was probably right around 88, 89. And right around that time was when film was taking off. So Little Mountain was going off, but it was slowly soon would shut down. And that right around again was the time when digital started coming out. So all of these, where people would normally be spending, $1 million to record their album. I think Alanis Morissette had just recorded her album in her garage on 8-at tapes for like $35,000 or something like that, or $150,000 or something crazy. So the studio business started going down, but film was taking off. So I ended up spending 25 years working in film, doing audio posts for film work.
Okay.
And again, it was interesting because again, I was applying the whole thing with the environment. Like I'm presented with a scene of creating that environment with sound or trying to relate. It's like I would always add a good rhythmic element to my sound design and layers to it that I would bring from what I would felt with music and feelings. How does this sound feel?
Okay.
So I kind of left DJing for a little bit, but then I ended up going to Burning Man.
Good luck coming back from that, right?
There we go, yeah.
Okay. So that's where it all changed.
So I started getting back into DJing. It was like, oh my God, here we go. So I would go into these, there's this place called the Dollhouse, which is shut down. It was run by these burlesque girls.
Okay.
So I would go and play gigs at their place on the weekend. And
well, that must have been fun.
Oh, it was amazing. And just going in and, after spending, 10, 15 years working in film,
right,
which becomes just factory and soulless. And I'm making good, decent money.
Right.
But my heart was done. There's like nothing. Yeah. And I go and I DJ for an hour and a half. And all these people went, oh my God, you made my name. Oh my God. And that, again, just touched me. Just like the little things tonight. It just hearing those things back from people.
Those affirmations.
That's what feeds me and makes me want to keep going, keep doing it.
It truly is. I mean, I would find that too when I played or tried to inspire the guys that worked with me. There's nothing like that. I mean, it pays for itself, even with the amount of distractions you have throughout because someone wants to request something. And, you have to kind of stand there and go, yeah, okay, I'll get to you, but nothing feels better than to have somebody come up and actually go like, thank you, it is what it is. But,
well, it's been interesting because, I've had to deal with that a lot more here, working here. And, initially kind of these like, oh, I don't take requests or don't do this or blah, 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 blah. I've decided to like, okay, let's be open to this.
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation with people.
Sure. I mean, some of that, you gain a little bit more knowledge, and actually somebody hits you with something that you forgot.
It's happened tons of times where I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect with what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
And I should totally play that.
Yeah,
I would not have
absolutely.
thought of that unless you said that.
Yeah, and it agrees with you. And I mean, I find myself, for the most part, being one of those kind of conduits to people. I don't like to shut people down. And I think that's one of the worst things, actually, you can do for yourself. Yeah. I mean, I used to sit at the radio station, for instance, and, flag these phones in the middle of the night. These people, they want to hear this, they want to hear that. And I'm kind of going like, okay, somebody's listening to me. I should honor that, right?
And for me, it's all about how people approach you.
Exactly.
Because often you'll get bitchy girls will come up and be like, "Meh, this music sucks. Can you play this?" And then so I'd be like, okay,
yeah.
Rather than being fuck you, I was like, excuse me. I'm like, hey, okay, let's just look at this situation. You've approached me. Number one, you shat on what I'm doing.
Yeah. By
telling me that my music sucks, and then you want to request something from me. Like, why would I do that? Yeah. And I put that back to them rather than just thinking she's a bitch and ignore her. It's like, put that back. Say, hey, like this is why I would not respond to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are pretty hostile. You can get to that.
Yeah. And two, when people make a request of a song, I say, hey, can you play this? I'll say, you know what? It doesn't really fit what I'm doing right now.
Right. Exactly.
Rather than saying no. I'll just say, hey, like this is.
I'll defer on that.
Yeah. And again, it all depends. And I've had times too where people come and say, hey, could you play this? And I'm like,
yeah,
that's not fitting with what I'm doing right now. But they came up and they approached. They were really sweet.
Yeah.
They were really nice,
yeah.
and they just had a good vibe to them. And I'll go in my head, you know what? Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Because they're a good person.
Right on.
And good people deserve to be.
Reward.
We need more good people in this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With that being said, you were part of the Olympics.
Yeah, I did a show at the Olympics.
Okay.
So yeah,
Explain
as I was working in the film world, I was working for a small company here in town, and this guy, Bill Vance, he was amazing. He gave me so many opportunities. I accelerated through the ranks like no one else, because if I was in LA, that would have never happened.
No.
So as I was going through and doing this audio post stuff, they needed, and I was really great with computers. So I was helping out with their post-production, and then started doing some assistant picture editing, and then eventually started doing some picture editing. Wow. So I was working digitally with these things, doing the picture editing, doing the sound, and a good friend of mine who I had met through, again, going to Burning Man, going to these parties, and realized there's this visuals that are happening.
Yeah.
And he was doing visuals down at the Lotus, using the old 16 millimeter film and slide projector stuff. And I'm like, I see this technology that's coming where you can have just like samplers on, how hip hop was using samples of stealing stuff, how you can sample a video clip,
right,
and have a whole bunch of them on a keyboard.
Right.
And hit all the different keys, and a different visual will play. So him and I teamed up, and we started doing visual stuff. So I started again visuals for me were I would see stuff, go to gigs and see, it's like, oh, cool, that's a cool pattern.
Right.
And 20 minutes later, it's the same thing going on. And it's the same thing going on. And to me, I've really been thrilled by shows where I've gone to. It's like, oh my, those lights are like syncing to the music, and and again, songs are stories,
right?
And they have breakdowns, they have emotions, they have rhythm, they have all of these things that I was able to bring to, again, because of my DJing background,
right?
So yeah, I also ended up going down to, we did visuals.
Did you enjoy that experience?
Oh,
man?
I loved it.
How was the Olympics for you? Was it?
That part was. I wasn't a big fan of the Olympics, and so that with that particular one show, I put together an AV show. So that was the audio and the visuals. So I had taken a lot of sampling clips. So we talked about James Round earlier. So James Round drummer was Clyde Stubblefield, or one of his main ones. It was sampled a lot. So I took a bunch of video clips with him.
Wow.
And my mind was blown with Ableton Live. So what you were able to do with Ableton Live with music was stick stuff in, and you could change the tempo of it. You could make the snare drum go to here. So I realized you could drop a video clip in, and so I would find a video clip, say someone roller skating and clapping their hands.
Right.
So I would take their where their hand clip was, move it to the 2 where the snare drum is, move the next one to the 4, and then loop that into a certain BPM, and then play that along with a song, and it would be right in sync.
Wow.
So then the next evolution would take that was like, well, let's use the audio. Yeah. So I've got Clyde. So using Clyde Stubble's actual drumming, and then placing that over top of like some 80s songs, getting stuff like Fred Astaire tap dancing.
Yeah.
You can hear the sound of his feet. You can see him tap dancing and layering that over top. So I put together, it was like probably, I think, a 45-minute thing. You can find it on Vimeo.
Okay.
And
can we find any of your works anywhere, like of your visual?
Yeah. I did lots of stuff under Technomorph that you can find, and sometimes under like DJ K-Tel you can find it. But yeah, if you search for what was that thing? Can't remember what the name of the thing was for the Olympics. But yeah, it's under the Olympics and fun. But yeah, it was a fun project. But the whole thing was, it was so much work.
Yeah.
So much work.
Where do you see yourself going from this point on, man? Are you still going to be doing this, or what are you going to be doing?
No idea.
Seem to keep going.
Keep going, just day to day of doing it, and I don't have the 5-10 year plan thing, because I've realized over life, like things change.
Yeah.
Things are so unpredictable.
Speaking of which, how does this COVID, how has it affected you? How does it changed your world?
Well, not, when things got shut down, my thing was to come to this place, to environment, and play for, people here.
Right.
And when that stopped, it was like, whoa, that's what I do.
What did you do to kind of...
Well, initially, when everything was getting shut down, a lot of DJs were jumping on, or artists, and it was like, we're to do live stream, do it from home, do that. So
yes.
Okay, well, so I talked to Jordan here. It was like, I would come down to the Morrissey on Saturday night when I'm playing, get the keys and come in here when it was empty, and DJ and stream it.
Wow.
And it was good because, it got me out of the house, which was good. But then probably after a month of doing that, I would leave here at 2-3 in the morning, and it's like, wow, did anyone tune in? I don't know. And like, the place is empty here, and it just did not feel the same. At all.
Right. Does it feel the same now with the people here, or does it still kind of have its holes in it?
It's okay.
Yeah.
There's still has its holes in it. Well, number one, money wise,
Yeah.
So I'm not making what I was.
So then, what motivates you to keep doing what?
Well,
you do?
because of the whole thing, like you said, you're doing it for free. Is I get to come in here, and there are some people in here.
Yeah.
And I get to play for those people, and I get to feedback. I get to play myself.
Right.
And I get some feedback from people, and see people dancing, see people singing along, see people clapping.
Right.
And that feeds me.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Well, I mean, I feel like your family when I come in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, man, it's ear popping some nights, man. I'll come in here and you played something that I had totally hadn't registered in so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And our, like I say, our importance of what we do and what we've been, it's important to the world. It's important to the people
Mm-hmm.
around us, and we're storytellers, and we're history. Yeah, I can set my watch or where I was at any point in time.
Yeah.
Throughout a year, a decade, or when this song came out, when this thing, and it's really wonderful to be in this position. I relish it. Like, for yourself, do you feel like, do you play music every day? Is there some ritual?
No, I do not. It's funny because often I'll go to a dinner party.
Right.
Like, oh, can you put on, or, riding in someone's car. It's like, oh, you're a DJ. Do you want to put on some music? I'm like, no, I do not.
Yeah.
And in my iPhone, like, I have zero music or zero playlists. So
Right.
I've got that stuff at home. So now with technology, which I love,
Yeah.
remember, it's Shazam.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
huge on Shazam.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be sitting there watching a video on Netflix. Oh my God, what is this song? Like, Shazam is like, oh my God, there. Instantly I know. Like, back in the day, I would hear a song,
Right.
and I would, like, somehow, like, listen to their radio station announce it, or it was in the club. Like,
Right.
it would take sometimes like a couple months, if not 2 years, to figure out what a song was, let alone like being able to get it. And now
Yeah.
being able to Shazam something,
It's just amazing.
and then I could take it now and I go, oh, add to Spotify. So I have like these playlists on Spotify. I just drop these tracks in.
Yeah.
So I go back later and, we'll go through and filter them,
Yeah.
find them, and then, go and get those tracks and put them together in some kind of order. So they're a complete mess. I would not they're not things to listen to. So they're like work notepad things. So.
Okay. What do you think about, excuse me, I've been to ask you this. What is your feeling about the scene in Vancouver? Is there a scene? What's going on here? I've been here for 3 decades, man. I got to tell you, I've been to Chicago. I've been to New York. I've been to Philly, Baltimore. And I mean, California. There was a scene going on. What's happened with Vancouver? How come Vancouver has never taken on an image and a like, yeah, I want to go there, to hear that,
Yeah.
Why haven't, with all the talent pool that we have here, and with some of the best DJs, I think, in the world, what's happening? Why isn't Vancouver being acknowledged?
Well, I'm not sure. It's weird because I don't really feel there's been kind of any kind of zone or area. Again, things are just with the internet and styles. People are just going off on doing their own thing, right?
Yeah. So it lends itself to being, the city is so transient, I guess, in a sense.
Which I think Vancouver has always been like that. Ever since I've been here, like it's such a small city too as well. Like, I know for hip hop, like,
Right.
I don't think there was any real hip hop nights, or if people tried, they were like, it was like very difficult to get people out because
Yeah.
it just wasn't enough.
Well, it was just a small fraction.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was part of that. I was managing a hip hop group from Edmonton and selling them here and selling them down in LA and pushing their product. And it wasn't here. They've never had it really here. And I think that's part of the reason why I say, culture had a lot to do with that. This is a city that seems to be forever in transition, so nothing is ever stuck on the wall.
And also too, I think too, like Vancouver being such a young city that we don't have any history. Like often too, a lot of the DJs I know when they would go out record digging.
Yeah.
And like, I did it when I first came here, and I just stopped doing it because, you go, it's like, oh, here's like, a whole bunch of April Wine, here's a whole bunch of this and a whole bunch of that. Like, you're not going to come across some, great, crazy soul collection that someone's on.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what, I can't really put my finger on it. Excuse me. And, and like I said, I've been here 3 decades, and I've seen the changes. It kind of blows me away that we still have not, in this city, found a way to say, that's where I want to go if I want to hear this, because we have such a great bevy of artists and entertainers here.
Yeah.
This city is very rich. And this is one of the other reasons why I do what I'm doing here, is to bring that out, and then I hope that somewhere that this show does that, would we be able to bring these folks out and bring them to the front and to the surface and give this city some identity? But
I think with some of it too, it's a lot of it too is underground,
right?
And I think with a lot of it, we want to stay there.
Yeah,
like that place, the Dollhouse. It was great because we were underground. It was small.
Right.
Not a lot of people knew about it.
Yeah.
There was no assholes there. There was no bitches there.
No.
And we liked it like that. and that's I love it. It was like, oh, this is great. Like,
yeah.
And they don't want to do advertising. Okay, so when I first took my first gig here, it was like walking on the street. I hadn't been down Granville Street for years. And
yeah.
I was scared of what I was going to have to play.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, are these the people I have to deal with? So the underground, I know there's like a drum and bass. There's a great drum and bass scene here.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you knew those people and where to go. And they're not advertising out at UBC trying to get more people in because, again, they want to keep it, their small, tight-knit crowd family of folks who really love the drum and bass.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you happy?
I'm happy.
Are you happy with where you are right now, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
man. I so cherish you, man.
Yeah.
You're the storyteller.
Thanks.
And I feel so safe with you holding the axe.
And I love because you give me that feedback a lot of stuff of I can tell I've hit your heart, I've hit your soul with stuff I've played. And I see the joy that it brings out in you.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Yeah. And I implore you, man, to keep going.
And again, too, like this is our first time sitting down and talking, right? And again, like I say, this is how I talk to people. So we've yet to sit down, but we've connected.
Yes, absolutely.
Over the music, we've connected.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. I feel like you're family, man, and what you're doing is no more than any tribe elder would do, is to tell the story and complete it. And I love you for it. Thank you so much, and thank you for so much being here with the Vem family and taking time out for us.
Thank you. Yeah.
At 3:30 in the morning. Thanks to my staff, Chris.
It's actually at 4:30.
It's 4:30. TJ, Natalia, Abby. What's that man's name down there?
So we got Guy.
Guy. No, that guy. That guy. That guy. Robbie, Ryan, Crystal, thank you guys so much. And thank you all for listening and viewing in here. This has been a real pleasure. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Come on down, Morrissey. Usually here Saturday nights. 11 until 3:14 a.m., I say.
There you go. You got to come on down here, folks. You're missing a treat. Anyway, thank you all for listening. This is EJ Love and Vem Magazine for my staff, myself, and for Mr. Carey here. Thank you so much. Thank you.